The wheel is not made up of the spokes. It's when you put them all together. Now you have something. So the same way, do we want to just depend on the acupuncture? We can. We know, well, the total volume of the blood circulates through the eyes every 2 hours, so if there's toxicity issues, then we know we want to do some detox work. What do we mean by toxin? Well, if you look at the main ingredients in personal care products or cosmetics, you notice that the top 3 are usually cancer-causing. Or lip gloss, the lipstick. I think Dr. Oz showed if you use lip gloss or lipstick, about the end of your life, you got about this much gob that you've digested into your system, like Vaseline. And in the United States, there's no regulation on petroleum products. So like in Europe, they have to be human grade. In this country, there's no law. Nothing. So you, even though it says whatever it says, no matter what it says, because there's no law in place. So Dr. Dahlgren found that these toxins migrate into the eyes. Alcohol, sugar. Anybody with pain, sugar. We look at sugar immediately because sugar will trigger a pain response. Preservatives, artificial colors, they all migrate into the body. And then you got the heavy metals. They migrate into the tissue. Tobacco, nicotine. He found that even after a person stopped smoking 30 years, they still have the nicotine in the eye. So, in Europe, they smoke like chimneys. And Dr. Dahlgren, it's like, I won't come to America and practice because I like to smoke between every, round of patients. And it's like part of their culture. So, he treated himself with the nicotine point so it didn't affect his vision. And his skin looked like a 25-year-old. And his lips were like ruby red. Looked almost like he put something on there, but no, that's just the circulation is so intense from his treatment. So we begin to find that pharmaceuticals, drugs will migrate and cause toxicity in the body. So I had a young lady in her 70s, 25 years she was legally blinded after she had an antibiotic because in the old days, if you had a C-section, possibly you got an infection in the hospital. Well, we know it's MRSA now. But back then they didn't know. So they had this heavy-duty antibiotic. She just had the baby and it says, well, here's the deal. You're going to die. We're going to give you this antibiotic and you're going to die. Or you might be able to stay alive, but we don't know. Well, she stayed alive, but she was blinded by it. And she had to wear dark glasses, no lights like this in her house. She's got dark glasses on. Then when she walks outside, she's got another pair of darker glasses over top that, so it's a total shield over her eyes. And it still hurts, right? So we found out the name of the drug that she was given, and I put it on a little slip of paper, and I put it in a little glass vial, and we swept down over these lines that have to do with toxicity. And we found several points that reacted to that. And we needled them. And we gave her this picture here, which is an aquarium, so to speak. But when we give it to people, we don't tell them what's on there. If you have macular degeneration, you blow red, so they don't see the fish, because there's all different colors of the fish. So they don't see that they're different or anything. They just see maybe grass or seaweed, the top and the bottom. So then the next day I come in and she gets up real close to me and she goes, there's fish in that picture, isn't there? And I go, what, you ask your husband? No, I told him, don't say anything to me. Don't tell me what's on the picture. A month later, she calls me and says, those fish are red. She hadn't seen red in 25 years, so she didn't remember what red looked like. She was looking in the apple one day and realized it was red. And then she looked at the picture and realized they were red. So that's why when we do the treatments, we have the person say out loud, what are they seeing? Because your auditory memory is 8 seconds long, your visual memory is 1 second long. So 90% of the patients, when you do the treatment and you ask them, do they notice any different? No. And then you give them the card and they go, well, there's fish on there, or they came down 2 lines. So we know that they had a positive change. So the nature of the treatment is that you get the improvement. If you don't get the improvement, then you're not a candidate for treatment. The other thing is that every 3 days, we shall see some kind of change. If you don't see a change, you know, within 3 days, like you did the first 3 days, you got your change, and then every day after that, you get a change. So then you come in for the next course of treatment, because we have a rest period between each course of treatment, during which your vision may continue to improve. Some patients go, wow, I improved even more during the rest period than I did during the actual treatment. So this way, 6 weeks after the last course of treatment, you will still be improving out, and then you plateau 6 weeks out. Then you go to your doctor and get your script changed. So with this young lady that had antibiotic poisoning, so to speak, we're able to find the point relative to that, and within the half hour of doing the needle, something happened, something changed in her brain. Well, that's unheard of. We don't know anything. It's usually long and protracted treatments. The other way we do the detox is through called the ion foot cleanse. And what that does is it allows your body to detox through the pores in your feet, since they're the largest in your body. Like you ever go to the ocean and you feel the waves there and oh, I feel so relaxed, right? Or you go to the mountain stream and you hear the bubbling creek, oh, it's so nice and relaxing. That's because of the ions. Or you go into the city, you drive through the city, you didn't even get out of your car, you get home, you feel dirty. Yeah, that's another type of ions. So we have an instrument that will produce ions in a little foot bath. And since the feet have the largest pores in the body, the ions will migrate through the pores in your feet, through the sweat barrier into your blood. And then they attach to any toxins that are in your body, come back out the feet, and when they dump into the water changes color relative to the toxins that are coming out. So if you have heavy metal, it will look like fingernail parings. You know, when you cut your fingernails, only they're black. And when you touch it, it dissolves. So that way we know it came from you and not from the element that's in the water. Or if you had surgery and you look in the water and there's red fingernail parings looks in there, that's blood clots coming out. Now, if you look in there in the beginning, sometimes it looks yellowish, like, wow, did you pee in there? So like, wow, you really did pee in there. That would be lymph. That's the first level. Second level would be orangish color, which is joint toxin. Then it converts toward brown, which is cell debris. And then finally it could go into the organ. Like if it was the liver, gallbladder, maybe it's green. Or if it went into the bladder, maybe it's white or black. If you got heavy-duty allergies, you look at the top of the water, it looks like cheese is floating up there on the top. So mold, fungus, parasites, coming out. So that way we didn't have to use the bowel and the urination, which is the usual exit. We didn't have to make you sweat or freeze you. Just put the feet in the water 30 minutes, it pulls it out. And then it continues to work for 2 days. For 48 hours afterwards, you continue to excrete it through the bowel and the urination.